Good afternoon and welcome back to Bald Feather Bets, guys. Okay, so we are going to take a look at the first of the divisional round games between the Bills and the Broncos. But first, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, notifications on so you know when we post. And then just interact with the video, like it, comment on it, share it around, anything you can do to help us grow. Never charge for the picks, just want to grow the channel. And then happy NFL Divisional Round, happy Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, and happy National Championship weekend to all who celebrate. Okay, so this game is the tightest of any of the spreads for this divisional round. Not surprising at all. And it's very similar line to what we had last week with the Jags and the Bills, and it's very similar in the Bills opened as the favorite, and the line has shifted over to the other team being the favorite. Last week, the Jags. This week, the Broncos. The line this is an interesting one because the line is either at 1, 1.5, or there is one, and it's a major book. It's not an offshore, that is at 2.5, but there are no twos. So that gives you an indication of what the sharp side has been at that book, at least. This game is going to come down to a few things. So I'm going to start with the Bills having the ball because it's actually a little bit more important. And the Broncos are going to score what they're going to score. And that range is probably smaller than the range of what the Bills can score. And the reason is the following. So last week the Bills played the Jaguars, and the Jaguars had the number 1 ranked run defense. The Broncos have the number 2 ranked run defense, but the Broncos have a higher rated pass defense, and there's a very specific reason why, which we're going to get into. The Broncos are the number 1 team in sacks so far in the NFL this year. So the number 2 ranked run defense, combined with having the highest amount of sacks in the NFL, is leading to also very good pass defense from the Broncos. The Broncos also are number 1 in third down conversion rate against their defense. And the reason they are number 1 in third down conversion rate is because they are number 1 in sacks and number 2 in run defense. So this always tallies every single year. The Broncos are averaging the most amount of yards that an opponent has to get against them on third down. So the reason they're so good at getting teams off the field on third down is these teams are facing third and long against them. A further deep dive into the stat, what the Broncos aren't necessarily that great at is stopping third and short and fourth and long. Third and short and fourth and short. And the reason they're not as good at it is because they're a little bit undersized on the defensive line. Now that what they've done on the defensive line has gone more athletic, which is one of the reasons why they're so good at getting sacks and getting pressures on a quarterback. So this game for the Bills offensively is essentially going to come down to what are they able to do on first and second down to stay on track so they get into a third and fourth and short situation where they're able to utilize their oversized offensive line and Josh Allen's legs and ability to essentially almost, if you get to 3rd and 2 and you know that they have 2 plays to get it, 9 times out of 10 the Bills are going to get that one. The Bills are kind of akin to what the Eagles offense was previous 2 years, in that if they get to a certain amount within the sticks, they're going to get that because they have one of the largest and most physical offensive lines, and they have a defensive end playing quarterback. So every single time the Bills touch the ball, if they stay on schedule, that drive will end up leading into points, whether it's a field goal or whether it's a touchdown with a PAT after. If they get off of schedule, this is where it's going to be really difficult for the Bills because of how much they're missing in the passing game. So they are down so many of their top pass catchers. A big name to watch in this one for them is Brandon Cooks. He came up big for them against the Jags and has been coming along for them big late in this year, and they've needed it. Now, they may be getting Curtis Samuel back, which would be huge for this game. But make no mistake about it, they are limited in terms of pass catchers that they can get. So if they're in situations where it's 3rd and 9, and if Allen takes off, he might be able to get 5 or 6 yards because this Broncos defense is very good. But it's not going to be a guaranteed first down, and he has to throw it. That's where the pass rush of this Broncos team, and that's where the secondary of this Broncos team is going to be very, very swarming. Okay? Now let's go to when the Broncos have the ball. One of the main reasons we've been waiting on this pick was with injury news. So you guys know that we've been fading the Bills' rush defense all year because it hasn't been good, and it's waned as the season has gone on. It's gotten worse as we've gotten later into the year. I think they're 28th in the league. Ed Oliver is a massive part of that. So I believe it's the Bills' rush win rate on defense. Rush stop win rate on defense increases 10% when Ed Oliver plays. And he plays the most important position for rush defense, which is defensive tackle. He's not going to be 100%. There's no way. They just activated him off of injury reserve. But does he give them enough on rush defense that keeps the Broncos off schedule and then forces them to win the game with Bo Nix? Bo Nix is an excellent quarterback in on-schedule situations, play action, first read and second read throws, incredible arm strength, takes advantage of openings in a zone defense. And with Jordan Poyer out for the Bills, lost him this past week against the Jaguars, there's going to be openings to be had at times against this Bills secondary. And the Bills know that. Don't get me wrong, the Bills are well coached enough and they have enough defensive acumen on the team, especially with Sean McDermott being the head coach. They're very aware that that's going to be the weakness for them heading into this game. The problem is the Broncos don't score a lot of points, guys. You can look at it all year. In games in which the defense or special teams does not set them up with either a touchdown from themselves or a 1st and 10 within the opponent's red zone, the Broncos score in the teens. You're going to need, if you're the Broncos and you really want to put this one away without giving Josh Allen a chance to win it late, you're going to need a key turnover, a key tip pass interception, a key fumble by a Bills wide receiver or running back, a key fumble by Josh Allen. They're rare, but they do happen. And then points scored off of that. If they don't get that, it's going to be really hard to pull away and then ultimately not have this game come down to the final 2 possessions in the fourth quarter. And if you're in that situation, defense has played all game, they're tired, it's pretty hard to not favor Josh Allen there. A lot of people I've been seeing talking about how Josh Allen doesn't have to be Superman in this game. Make no mistake about it, Josh Allen will have to be Superman in this game. The Bills are down to not a whole lot offensively. I do not believe the Broncos' rush defense like, I know the Jaguars are ranked 1 and Broncos are ranked 2, and you're kind of like, oh, what's the difference, 1 and 2? I do not believe the Broncos' rush defense is as good as the Jaguars. They're not even schematically set up the same way to be as good. There should be a little bit more rushing success for Cook here on the ground. The problem is the Jaguars were not near as good at pressures as the Bills, and you saw when the Jaguars did get a sack on Josh Allen, every single one of those drives, the Bills ended up punting. So it's a bit of a wash there. The way we see this game is we see this game as first team to score 20 points. If a team scores 20 points, that team will win. I think there's a chance neither of these teams score 20 points. We don't bet totals at Bald Feather Bets, but this game is going under. I think it's like 46 is the total. I ultimately was essentially swayed by the fact that we have a 2.5 on the market. In a game in which I could easily see come down 17-16, 15-14, 19-16, 19-17, 20-19, we're not going to pass on getting 2.5 with Josh Allen and the Bills. So we are going to go Bills plus 2.5, and we're going to do that one for 3 units. Appreciate you guys very much. We'll be back at you again later this afternoon for our pick on Seahawks 49ers. We are watching injury news on that one too. Not the Sam Darnold one. I actually don't really care about that. There's other injury news in that game that I care about a lot more. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy this first game, and look out for our video for Seahawks and 49ers.